Hello, everyone, and welcome to another lifting episode. This episode was recorded on 1/21/24. This is going to be an interesting albeit kind of an irritating one to myself to a certain extent, but it's one that bears speaking about. This is about some more of the ghost intrusions that have taken place. You'll probably see a variety of videos that I'll have posted to or will post to the YouTube on different ghost occurrences. You'll see some Dreamtime Invasion ones that I've compiled in like an afterthoughts type of way, and some that I've done from my phone over the past maybe 3 years. So I'm going to be putting those in batches. They're too large to put in lifting episodes. There's too many of them. So I've just been grouping them in type and posting them into the YouTube cache waiting to use them. So you'll be seeing those fairly soon. Those hopefully are going to be of some benefits. So before I get into where we get into the meat of this conversation, we have to now we open this circle to true benevolence with no conflicting agendas. So, Joanna?
We are all one, and when one is harmed, all are harmed. When one is helped, all are helped. Therefore, in the name of who I am, and I am one with all there is, that only the highest good be done. We pray for you, your friends, your family, your loved ones, to let healing energies in. Let them love you and nourish you and bring you to your highest good. We wish the same for ourselves, our friends, our family, our loved ones, to again let healing energies in, to let them love us, nourish us, and bring us to our highest good. We ask for benevolence to come in with no conflicting agenda, to come in and be with us to have this conversation, to allow for the conversation to be had without great interruption and without interference of understanding. We ask also that malevolence or mischievous beings be kind of swept out to not allow for interference to this conversation. So with that and with great blessings that we send to everyone, we say so be it.
So be it. And I heard Isaac during all that saying, "Come over, Gollum up there is judging us." So, because I moved him and now he has to come over. So he looked like that. So I thought that was pretty funny. I was kind of do that, but thought that was pretty funny. But this is actually an interesting conversation because this is something that I've never really been able to completely bring resolve to. I mean, we have things like demons and ghouls and all that kind of stuff kind of down pat on how to get rid of. That's kind of a staple or kind of a thing that seems to be fairly easy to keep them away. There's different solutions for different demonic types, things of that nature, and also maybe more malicious cryptid types. Kind of have that down pat. But with the ghost issue, this is something that has continued, and this is more of a continuation of the conversation that you heard us have some months back called "Do We Know When We're Dead?" And this is that's offshoot where Joanna's brother came in and spoke about some of those issues. You may have I'll recap slightly where you even saw that on an energetic level Joanna created a construct by which some of the ghosts could go through. This is when we were in Arizona. Now, when moving out here, I have to say the negativity has severely reduced, but there's been other things at a distance, from military to some alien to also telepathic intrusion. I have to say there is some of that, but ghosts. Every now and then, from the time of the Lahaina fire to some of the other things that have taken place, there have been a variety of different kinds of ghosts. Some that thought they were breaking into our house. They were thieves. Thought they were breaking into a bank, which we found hilarious. And like they had been stalking the house like thieves would. I have all of these recordings that I did these little things over the past year we've been here. And some have come. Some just keep coming in, either asking if they're dead or they affect some electrics in the house. They put strain on. I noticed they put strain on the computer equipment. They put strain on like my drive, which I can't have. They put strain on the stuff in the garage. I've noticed some have been tampering with my space heater, rock tumblers, dehumidifier. anything that's electrical box on the outside of the house, I've had to put sigils and stuff like that on that. You name it, they have come in and messed with it. And there have been a few. I mean, they have been innocent, some of them, but some of them have been malicious. And we even had one from the Middle Ages in here when I had my knight's helmet in here. Found out he had followed us inside of that as an edifice, but he was more of a mutated type of thing. The point I'm making is the empathic transference can actually harm a human. You've heard me talk about this on multiple occasions, where you start to mimic the sickness that may have killed that particular person, or may have had some lingering illness or some issue. Even if they were murdered, had like a head wound, something, empathic transference. Now, I know ghosts are created from lies, injustices, and unfinished business. We've said that before. And there is sympathy there. But I do want to also say we've had some of the roughest time because they will just try to walk into the house. We even had a couple of them that looked like they died very recently. There was a child and a mother that just tried to walk their way into the house. Even in situations like that, people have sympathy for that, which, yes, great. But the warning I have to give is don't start inviting them in. It will be like how my great grandmother said, or my great grandfather said, when my great grandmother helped a homeless person. It's like that South Park episode where all of a sudden, Stan gives one of them change and the rest of them show up. It kind of reminds me of that funny incident in South Park history that pissed a lot of people off. But with this, the house is marked and they keep showing up, and you will never have peace from the ghosts. And we found out that this woman and child were somebody that occupied a space similar to this. The object of the exercise today is we're trying to figure out what it is that they are seeing, that they're attracted to, like catnip. So this is the one issue, in sessions that seems to be the repeating issue above even some of the demonic entities, even above the attachments, for crying out loud. The attachments get bounced around from person to person, in like from Walmarts to malls to everything. The one thing that seems to take the cake, I thought, was the minority. I thought the majority was alien activity, which that still holds. But the majority of some of the things that can't seem to be resolved completely is ghosts. So this is good old fashioned ghost hauntings. So this is something that we wanted to touch on, like how do they actually, know what to look for? And say if you say the ghosts that hit us at the time of when COVID hit. This was a discussion we did was called the Sea of Ghosts on Patreon we had back then, and I'll make that recording available too as well, where some were coming from those that died in New York that time in the beginning of the COVID, when the COVID hammer dropped. What happened was they appeared in our bedroom, at least 7, 8 of them, all asking if they were dead. And it's like, okay, how do you not know the transition point between point A and point B? You died in New York and you're now in Arizona. As I know, with ThoughtWise, you can step. As a ghost, you can step from one step to another, and you're in a different space if you focus. Or you can hit an energetic causeway and you end up in some weird place. Funny story was I have an EVP from back in my photography days on Hartley Street when I had a model over and I recorded an EVP there as we were photographing. I had a camera going. I heard a ghost just automatically say, I thought this was Houston. So that kind of lends credence to, okay, maybe you hit an energetic causeway, maybe a defective portal somewhere, or some kind of zip line like effect with a quantum string or something. That or portal misconnect. That's all a possibility because of the shattering of the Bifrost back in the old Orion Wars, and also the fact that Earth is a big cluster when it comes to alien ships trying to come here. That's why they crash into mountains and whatnot, because the magnetic and energetic fields are pretty all over the place. So that's the only thing that I can think of. That, and also they sent somebody that can help them, but who brings them here? And I've also noticed enemy forces throwing ghosts at people, like at mediums, trying to wear their energy down so that they don't have enough strength to fight the bad guys. I've run into that incident before. That was more in Arizona. I have not really run into that completely here. That was more in Arizona. It seems to be regional. for some of those types of things, and that's also involved in the soul trade. But yet those aliens are stupid, and they don't realize there's people that can pass them on to, so where they can't get to them. So that kind of mixes the soul trade aspect of that. So, but with this, Joanna, did you want to add to this?
No, I think it's an interesting conversation. And again, there seems to be such amazing confusion, way more confusion with some of these ghosts than I would have actually ever thought. And we've
Yeah.
spoken about that before. But I will say,
More so than ever in history, yeah.
and it's I don't know. I'm wondering, although we talk about it, has something changed even for them? Has something increased? It's just something really different going on that again, and who how can they be, are they drawn to certain things, really drawn from very large distances? I find that all very interesting too. So again, just more in-depth discussion about it as we try to figure this out.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. This is something that's been bugging me. Like how do they get the great distances like that? You know, if there's still a grounded ghost and they don't know they're dead, all of a sudden, boop, are they in your space? Like an old woman that died in the Haina fires. You could tell she was an older Hawaiian person, and all of a sudden she's in my room at 7 a.m. Sun was up, thankfully, you know, because I do have a creep limit here, but full form, just exactly like you're seeing us, could touch everything. And I know it's a no-no to touch them as well because there's an entanglement issue. There, of course, this goes back to the biblical phrase, "You can't touch me because I haven't been to my father's kingdom yet." I hate quoting Enlil, but that's the phrase that counts because it's an entanglement issue. I've had dream after dream, so has my mother, of other family members coming to see us, but we're not supposed to touch them as a ghostly form. Once they enter spirit and transition, touch all you want. There, it seems to be as the ghost form, there's some weird adhesion. Like when I got my tendons in my knee, where I got them from an 18-year-old Hispanic girl, I found out that ghost tried to fuse with me, and I had the donor dreams from that. Many people have had that, and I had to disentangle and rewrite the codes and everything in those tendons and ligaments to make them fully mine. And it's an entanglement issue. It's a weird thing that stretches clear back to ancient times. But the current stuff has been weird. It's been just off the wall confusion to the point where you're scratching your head and frustrated as holy hell because it wears you down. And and yeah, I there's some that know they're doing it, and then other ones are just like all over the place. And people are like that too with the scatterbrainness of our times. We had that discussion too. That's a different recording. But there's the AI doing stuff, and of course there's the binary network creating the fake holographic ghosts. That's again the AI discussion right there. But this is its own category, and then this does fall into the paranormal category, but this falls under the what the hell category as well. So so with that, I could yeah, I'm starting to get all tongue tied. I notice when I start to block AI signals, folks, when I put my hat on, all of a sudden the brain starts to go for whatever reason, and then it realigns again. So because it blocks certain frequencies. So I believe I know it was Lena and Bess and Isaac that were around today or are around. Which of the three wishes to speak today? Uh Vessa. Okay, it's actually been a long time since you have. Well, Elena has gotten on more than you have. So I've noticed with the two of them, they seem to rotate like in shifts. So one wants to listen while the other one talks, kind of thing. So yes, Isaac, I'm well aware of what role reversal is. Thank you. And so is the audience. So okay. Um, so okay. True benevolence only. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Hmm. That is strong, but there's also other stuff in the way. Yes, I can hear you. In fairness, the confusion is unfortunately reigning supreme in the now time. When it comes to ghosts, yes, there are actually more of them than what you're perceiving. There's a scattering, a variety of different bandwidths and frequency, wavelengths, and values that they exist on, just like with people. No, they are people, so therefore it is fluctuating exactly the same as in life, as in death. With this, you've actually had more around you than you're seeing and perceiving, except you're seeing some of the after effects. You're seeing the radar blip on the outer edge, kind of like the whole ghost radar thing with the different colors of dots in the radar. Regardless of the legitimacy of the software, that's the example. This is what you're seeing. Mostly wanderers. There have been a few malicious ones that have been mistaken for demons. Like when you were in Vegas and them mistook that mobster for a reptilian because that's what the energy he was more aligned with, you see. And some of them mutate. It's kind of a Voldemort Horcrux effect to where the more soul shards and such he built up, the more mutated and reptilian look he became. It is a very similar effect with the more malicious ones. But the confused, wandering ones are what you're asking about, you see. How do they end up in your space? How do they know to be there? Yes, do you give off a light that others don't, brighter, kind of like the blue pill, red pill kind of thing? Is this why the enemy aims at you? Yes, on both counts. Yes, is there a way to shield this? Yes. Is there a way to send ghosts on without an intermediary? Yes and no, there should be, but there isn't completely. I will explain. Yes, there's the soul trade going on, which I've spoken about myself. But there's another aspect to this, to where some of the wandering ghosts that had unfinished business or were lied about, let's say, they wander and they have an adhesion to the physical plane. You also have the malicious ones. You also have the ones playing practical jokes and pranks. He himself would be in that latter, but he would too in this. But specifically, more the ones that have entered your space, more entered, like, say, the woman and child, for instance. That was a couple of car accident victims that were more in the here and now. But their house looked exactly the same as your own, even though there are a lot of similar ones in your area. The same was within Arizona. When there is a certain level of confusion, what they follow is, it's just like with whales. What did whales follow and then beach themselves? A magnetic pole. They saw brighter. They saw whales sense a brighter sonar, and they end up beaching themselves. Not only is the Earth shifting in areas, but your military is up the things in that area, trying to clear the whales out so they can quit being annoyed by people caring about the environment. That's those people. They're special in that way. Not all of them are that way, just that particular group. In this, it is the same for you guys. You enrich the energies, not only with your devices, but with yourselves. Say a ghost dies near a location like that, and they see a house that they automatically see as theirs because it looks similar and it seems familiar, warm, and homey. In that confusion, they enter the space. In that confusion, they're seeing other people's things. And sometimes in that confusion, they act violently because they're wondering why someone's in their house when in fact it is not their home. Or you have somebody that moves into their house and some get belligerent going, get out of my house. Then some of them know they're dead, some of them don't. And then some of them are afraid to move on because of they think judgment in the afterlife. But in that specific case, it is like a waypoint being lit up, or a beacon or a signal fire. There is actually no way around that particular aspect. You enrich the energies. It is more like in Lord of the Rings where they lit the signal fire on the mountaintops. It is like that. But it doesn't mean that ghosts are always attracted to it. It doesn't always mean demonic entities always want to smother it. It just is what it is. Now, with ghosts that are drawing off your energy. Yes, don't allow that, or don't allow imprinting. Yes, it can affect your physical health. But no, in an enriched energetic environment, one that is at a level of which he himself, you yourselves can tolerate, you guys have gone further along than others. So therefore, you require a more enriched energy. That enriched energy is not without its other effects. Yes, it can change an area, which you've done a wonderful job doing, but it feels safer, kinder, and faster moving, and more inviting than others. So therefore, um, know that every now and again this happens. We're not saying invite this in. We're not saying have your house marked like what he was saying. But what I'm saying is, every now and again this happens. Also, you have had a duende issue as well with the little gremlin-like beings in the walls. Just know those guys are everywhere, mind you. They're literally in every single house and on every single plot of land and every single continent. Multiple types, and they do exist within the walls. How they are attracted, sometimes more so, is again by enriched energies. But they begin to enjoy the enriched energies, but they don't always enjoy ghosts around. So there's the clash. You see, brownies often, when they do their little sweeping thing, they don't actually carry brooms. That was a symbol, but they actually clean with energy. Some of them are little people that sweep, like your Menahune, but and do farming and whatnot. But with this is where two worlds collide. They want just as cleansed energies as you. If you do not notice what they notice, because they have a broad spectrum of visuals as well, they will insist that you clean, not completely getting that the more they badger you, the more you sully the energy, the more than they badger you. They are kind of special in that way. And they will see the ghost going, wait a minute, you didn't notice this? Wait a minute, you didn't know this? But them and them pointing something out might continuously keep you open all the time, which is what he does not want. So therefore, it causes a clash. So therefore, when worlds collide, and also you have galactic worlds colliding and elemental worlds colliding as well, not all good galactics. You've had some around that have been a pain in the ass. Then you've had good ones. Then you've had dimensionals, mostly dimensionals. You've had elementals. Then you've had the brownies wanting to keep the environment enriched to the way you have it. They love the tower busters. They love the pieces. They love it all. They do not like ghost intrusion. And this is where he's getting some of that empathic transference from the brownie environment, basically saying, get out, get out, get out. They do this. They will shove things out of their space in a more violent way if it is even slightly disrupting things. They're very anal retentive beings. They hate it when you say creature. So I will say being at this time. Cryptid. And make that in the middle. But just know when you are seeing things in the walls of the house fluctuate and move, you're seeing brownies slash duendes. They literally have their number is in the trillion. There is no way you're going to make them leave environments. There has to be a coexistence. You cannot accept bullying from them though, because they don't own the spaces. They just coexist in the spaces. Now, Puckwudgies and all the rest of them, those are different. Grimpa, they want to coexist, but they're slightly more temperamental. Puckwudgies are evil. Certain gremlins are evil. You have to tell the difference, even though they come from similar gene pools. For one, you have Dobby the house elf, and the other you have vampiric little turd. So you have to tell the difference between them, and you do that by certain vibrations. Now, Grimpot will get butthurt, so therefore they feel like they are nasty. They'll grit their teeth at you and stuff like that. But they are not essentially evil. They're Puckwudgie counterparts, the evil counterparts. You kick them out immediately. Those are the things you have to tell the difference by. Duendes slash brownies, just know that there are trillions of them, and they're literally on every continent and in every city and in every building. So that you have to coexist with. I know this sidetrack, but this is a worlds colliding type of issue that is actually going on that is causing this back and forth. And it's not all your guys' fault. It's not your guys' fault with the clashing. It's other things that don't like to coexist together that have been thrown into the mix together. I can go into questions if you like.
So I'm sure obviously that Chris isn't the only person in the world who has helped folks cross over and is now experiencing something different, something extra special is going on. So part of it, again, I think you agreed with the fact that there's some sort of increased confusion of those that are folks that are passing more current present moment.
Mhm.
So I know we keep saying that there usually is a generalized reason why they're staying on, but part of me feels part of their not moving on is the confusion itself as kind of an additional issue that is preventing people from moving on. They may not have a big problem that would have normally prevented them from moving on, but it's extra special. So was hoping that you could talk a little bit more about what's going on in life to cause so much confusion that now causes confusion at transition of death.
So a lot of it in the transitional period is the soul trade, where the soul traps and the soul traders and soul pirates have created conduits or hijacked Orion conduits to be able to act as guardian angels or harvesters to grab them. He always uses the example of the lady that lost her son when he died on his 18th birthday, but she was told when he was like 5 that he would die on his 18th birthday. Those were soul traders wanting to get consent. A lot of them need consent, so they hijack religious beliefs. In this, on his 18th birthday, she told him, in telling him, he acknowledged it. It passed between more than one person. He more than one walk in my name, more than two walk in my name, kind of thing. And that's all they needed to grab a crop that was more ripe for them to pluck. That is an issue. That is a major issue out in the cosmos. That's like how slavery used to be here back in your 15, 16, 1700s. In this also, the roughness of it is some of it's AI, some of it is the technological energy, some of it is earthly energies. A lot of it, 9/10 of it, is dimensionally based. Also expectationally based. And what I'll say is this: people expect the afterlife or spirit to be a particular way. It is not. Even you two have some of what spirit actually is wrong. You've learned recently there's different levels to spirit. The Native Americans had it partially correct where they had different levels. The non-Orion Egyptians had a little bit of it as well. That they were getting more of the soul trap garbage, but the dimensionally based everything. You're dealing with also beings that have incarnated here dimensionally, but you're also dealing with ghosts that are also seeing, again, more enriched energetic environments and thinking, oh, it's heaven. They sometimes will pass into and out of places they don't belong into, and they get booted out by beings that are frustrated there, just exactly like the Duende, just exactly like himself, seeing them. He's acting more like some of the beings that see them pass into their spaces. People have been misled to go to the light. You know how many points of light there are on your earth that would look exactly like what was said to be that of the light of God or heaven? They're everywhere. This is causing confusion because of some of the teachings, the religious beliefs that are out there that are the expectation of what heaven looks like. This is what is actually going on. This is also why you're running into so many ghosts that I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to go to hell. He gets frustrated with that. Imagine some of those ghosts running into other dimensional spaces as well, thinking, oh, I'm going to get to heaven real quick and before God notices. Well, then they encounter some angry thing they think is a demon. Oh my God, I ended up in hell. And that person is frustrated, just like we would be as well. Nouveau has not seen really any of that, to tell you the truth. Other spaces dimensionally have, other pockets have, and it's becoming frustrating to those beings. And again, worlds colliding. And then that reverbs across the board. It's some of the beliefs are causing some issues. So he is not wrong when he says certain religious beliefs are wrong, but it is unfair to say that is the only issue. but it is actually overall, it is the expectation of what you believe spirit should look like. Again, yes, you create your own afterlife, idyllic afterlife. And then some people have made it to those idyllic afterlives, aside from the soul trap nonsense, where they have created their own idyllic afterlives. And some also family members, again, you've seen cross over and also dictate what happens here from those faster moving dimensional states, just like Draco go to other dimensions and Orion's, and they wear equipment to be able to reverberate from faster moving or higher dimensions down on you. This follows that premise, where it is not at all like people have in their heads how they think it should be laid out. That is the main issue that is actually causing this confusion, is the expectation of what that is meant to look like. And you can blame beings like Enlil, you can blame beings like any of them for creating some of these false teachings. That was slow drift. He calls it the storytellers, like he saw in the SSP. He saw a storyteller on another planet that was trying to divide people from themselves from within. You can blame some of these other beings that came in with hedge betting to see what their false belief would do to a particular population. That was an experiment that was being run. This is one of the main issues with the ghosts right now.
So I have to, ponder the question of, from the other side, from the soul family members, from the people, what kind of extra efforts do you think that they're doing, or do you think they're not doing? Because it makes no sense if there's an increase of this and the goal is to have an experience and then to basically be able to go back. Some sort of safety measure, some sort of something to try to ensure that the soul can make it back, okay, safely. And if there's an increase of confusion, an increase of problem, you would hope that, there would be some sort of increase of benevolent interference, let's just say, to help get these people across.
Oh, there is. There is some of that. But in some instances, sometimes that particular being is another avatar or aspect of the very being that's caught in the turmoil, tries to reach out, tries to reclaim that, but cannot. There are aspects that inhibit, certain energies that inhibit, but at the same time, just know this is not laid out exactly as you think that it is. This is a concept both of you are unfamiliar with, but I will attempt to translate this. Say you have also been told that, yes, you go back to a certain avatar after death that you most favor, which is still true. But sometimes that avatar is already up and walking around watching you. It's you watching you. That said, that there's nothing to really go back to because it's all co-synchronous, just like with spirit. People said, oh, they're going back home. They never left. They're there, you're here. That also said, you are trying to always help and fix you. The way that spirit is laid out and the way that even reincarnation, the real one, not the false spirit, the real one is laid out, is nothing, and I repeat, nothing like how people expect it to be. It's like, oh, I'll come back for another incarnation. You're already there. If you've made the choice, if you're feeling you've made the choice here, your oversoul's already conducting that. This is why people say they see future lifetimes, because the oversoul has already made the active decision, and your human avatar is saying, well, I think I'll come back to see this. It's like what he said. I'll come back in the future to see this. It's already happened. It's already happening. Yes, everything's happening all at once, but there's even more to that story that people are not understanding. You have, even within your own reality, avatars of your oversoul that exist here with you now. They act like what he says, like the rules of the multiverse. If it doesn't happen here, it happens there. But it's within your own same concurrent timeline. Or is it? There's a part of quantum mechanics you two are not understanding yet, but just know, and temporal mechanics, but just know that having soul family involvement is already occurring. But just know there's also other agenda involvement, both both negative and positive, that is also either fueling the fire, or there may be an indifference because, okay, that's just another experience of the oversoul, or there may be an actual longing to help, but they're not able to do exactly what they thought they would be able to do from where they're doing it. If this makes sense. This also applies to spirit as well.
So, okay, I could get all of that, and I could actually get that there would be an experience in being a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I can get that. Um, I just, uh, it does feel excessive though. I don't know if this was,
It is excessive. It was unfortunately tilted that direction. And yes, a dam, he likes to say a dam is about ready to break. And yes, that is true.
as far as trying to correct it, you mean?
Yes.
Well, that's good to
An
hear.
audit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to hear because it really does seem, worry to me, worrisome for those souls that it seems to be a little bit excessive. So it's nice to know that something is going to be done about it. So again, for those people that are feeling maybe they're getting a lot of this, that they've been a part of this, they felt called to help souls move on. They've been through all of this. I'm sure many of them are feeling a bit overwhelmed these days. And again, maybe feeling the effects of some of the issues and illnesses that these ghosts have had around them.
Mm-hmm.
What extra pieces of protection or what would you suggest or would like to relate it to people that are dealing with this?
So some of the solutions stone wise might surprise you. Selenite is a good cord cutter. There's also different herbs like you use sages and whatnot. But selenite seems to be one that does cut cords. And you may be asking why that one when you have it all around your house. It is both a disentangler and an attractor all at the same time, where something is longing to come to resolve, but then reaches, say, the tip of a selenite blade, and then gets disentangled from the ghostly existence. It's essentially some one that has a broader range than you ever thought it did. That is a stone solution, not necessarily permanency. You could put that around all over the place. You'd still have ghosts wanting to step in it. Just like you'd have people not walking if they stepped in poop. Bad example, but some don't pay attention. Just like his powder he puts around. Yes, it stops demon kind perfectly. But with ghosts, some of them actually like it. He says catnip, but that's not fair. It's not quite like that. But the solutions energetically that you can put out there. He says, yes, he claims the sovereign space. Yes, and he puts etheric signage on the outside in all languages and all types. Yes, there are etheric signs that direct people other places, but what you did not know is those that enriched energy becomes its own signpost of not necessarily welcome, but that it feels welcoming. Yes, envision an etheric signpost, basically saying you can say ghosts keep out, but sometimes they don't know they're ghosts. They see themselves as humans. So some didn't believe in them. Just like he ran into a ghost that said he didn't believe in ghosts. He thought was one of the most comical things he'd ever run into. But that was somebody that was an old man that was crotchety and didn't really believe in anything outside of his existence. So therefore, he remained that way. The I hate to say mantra that would keep him out, but symbolism like your Merkaba do help as well with your lifting flag. To anybody not looking, there's a large lifting flag in front of me right here with the Merkaba on it. These things actually do help, actually guide them or chariot them, which is what the word means, to the proper place. It's not just a chariot of messages, it can be a chariot of passage as well. The words that you can say to actually keep them out is this, if I can translate this correctly through him. Those that have passed on cannot enter here, but pass only into the afterlife itself. This can also be used to program crystals, program stones, and devices. Your devices currently are programmed to keep demonkind and artificial intelligence and dark aliens and Orions away. You can retune quartz crystals, clear ones, to either jump them to the afterlife, which he doesn't want to do, but then basically uh, tell them where to go and how to do it. You can program crystals that way. If you have, you can use a few of them that way, but you can program a device to do a similar task. You don't need a big elaborate portal drive like he's talking about, like automatically sucking them into the spirit world. That would get abused, very, very abused. So, but you can program crystals to echo, like what he always says. He turns the dragon heads and the skulls into talking heads to the buy me thing. He's doing the trick already. It's the You can program a crystal to do that and echo those words to ghosts as well.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, I'm just gonna let you talk now. Anything else you wish to share and any closing remarks that you have today?
Yes, this I know this was a warranted conversation, but just know that just like the duende in the walls, there are coexistences that need to take place, and also I don't want to say more due diligence because you guys have done more than your unfair share of due diligence, more so than any mortal people have done, from the flags to the crystals to the devices to internal work, all of it. But know that there are those, even when you're out walking in the store, you are seen by something. As much as you try to charcoal layer things, there is something that can always see a frequency, just like you can always see movement or frequency. There is always something that sees you. The idea is you must remain grounded and you must hold the space. And it doesn't always mean like you stand like a guard at the door. No, not like this. No, it's more like hold the calm, or the knock on people say, hold the calm space, or Hanalam always. Hold that space, but at the same time, don't allow bullying, don't allow ghosts to come and go from your home. But also, as I've said, put those other measures in place. If you do not remember the words, of course, they are on there. But with this, these are my closing remarks. Both me and Elena love you both fully and completely, and we will be in touch as we always are. So, blessings. Okay. Yeah, that was actually interesting. The she was right. Sometimes you'll see fluctuations in the walls and go, "The hell?" And you'll see like little faces or little eyes poking out or something. That's duende right there. And also we've seen gnomes, of course, and other elementals looking up through the floor. We've seen that for years. We caught several of them in the bedroom there, Nightdale, looking in on. Oh, we've seen people looking in on people showering, stuff like that. That's what they meant by other elemental type stuff, gnomes. But duende are slightly different. They are they crawl in the walls. Sometimes you hear them. They sound like mice crawling in the walls and scratching on the inside. Sometimes they're like with anybody, they're mischievous. Sometimes they're not. But she's right. Brownies slash duende can be very anal about. They like an enriched environment. They want to keep it that way. So do I. But I don't want to cause conflict, and it is worlds colliding, right there. A lot of worlds colliding, and then it becomes one big clusterfuck after a while. So you have to basically saying level it, keep it calm. So that's essentially what she was talking about. And the ghost instances, we don't get them as often as we did Arizona. I will tell you, Arizona is one big active state. You would expect Virginia to be too, given the history, but it is not as much because you're closer to the sea. You're closer to some of that tide and ebb and flow. At least that's my theory anyway. I'm being told correct. Yes. This there's a big difference here, but we still run into this periodically, folks. So don't think just because we can't get rid of it that we can't fix it on somebody else's end. But it doesn't mean that ghosts won't stop drifting and coming and going. You have drifters essentially, And we've run from homeless people to criminals to confused people, you name it. I've seen the ghost type that I've mistaken either for demons or for something elementalish too. So, Joanna?
No, I think it was a great idea about putting together, the crystals to be able to program
The
them.
crystal grid,
Yeah.
grid.
The crystal grids to be able to help you out with that. I think people can misunderstand. Truly, I think there is a misunderstanding about what these ghosts actually do to you. Um, and I'm not saying it's always intentional. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with energies. And again, how you can think something you're talking to is really far away and it's really in your face and you can't tell
Or
the
vice
difference.
versa. Yeah.
Right. So what we say is that, please take the ghost situation seriously. You are not being yourself. You're not being mean to want to try and move them on. We would highly recommend that they are all moved on. So any and all tools to be able to do that in a kind, benevolent way, please use them. And understand that there is an increase in confusion. It's just something, weird going on. Hopefully, again, that will come into balance. But take this stuff seriously and do something about it. And use these aids, for everyone's benefit.
And this is also affecting abundance and finances. I've noticed too that goes into the entropy conversation. This links back to the entropy conversation that we had before as well. There seems to be an integral link between those two worlds as well. And also, I heard Isaac say, speaking of Duende, and he's pointing to my Yoda statue right there. The ears, that's how they look, folks. So they're about that size of that statue right there. So he's pointing out as that example. I put it right behind there, or the size of him there. So that's about where we're at with this. Did you want to give the last affirmation blessing?
Yeah, again, blessings to everyone that are out there and that have listened to us. Hopefully you've learned something a little bit more about this. And we want to just always send energy for your highest good, whatever that is, to please go to you and your friends and family and loved ones. Always great blessings from us.
And remember, having something around can decrease your abundance, can warp your life path, can do all those things. So you have to level it. You have to do the due diligence and level it. So I now close this circle within true benevolence with no conflicting agendas as of this moment in time. So thank you, everybody. Bye-bye now.